Imagine this. One morning the whole world wakes up to shocking news. A royal secret has been exposed, and within hours, it spreads across every screen, every newspaper, every phone in the world. What could be so big, so dangerous, that even powerful royals couldn't keep it hidden? Stay with me, because this scandal is not just about love, not just about rules, but about the one mistake that nearly tore down an entire palace. It all started with a private letter, a letter that was never meant to be read by the public. Inside it, there were words of confession, deep emotions, and a truth that clashed directly with centuries of royal tradition. One trusted hand was supposed to deliver it quietly, but instead it slipped into the wrong hands. That one letter turned into the spark that set fire to the reputation of a royal household. And here's the twist. The letter revealed a hidden relationship, one that was never approved by the royal council, never accepted by the elders, and never meant to be seen in the open. It wasn't just a story of two people. It was a story that questioned loyalty, power, and the rules of bloodlines that had been protected for generations. The media couldn't resist. They published every word, turning whispers into headlines, turning secrets into debates, and turning a quiet palace matter into the biggest story of the year. But wait, this is where the scandal grew bigger. When the truth came out, it wasn't only about forbidden love. It also exposed hidden deals, money trails, and broken promises inside the royal circle. Suddenly, the focus wasn't only on who loved who, but on whether the palace itself had been lying to its people. Think about it. When the public begins to question trust, when loyalty starts to break, can a crown still hold its power? The pressure grew every hour. Crowds stood outside the palace gates. Journalists camped day and night. People demanded answers. Was the royal image just a carefully painted mask, or was this scandal revealing who they truly were behind closed doors? And then came another shock. Someone close to the palace admitted that the letter was real. There was no denying it anymore. The secret was out. Now here's the part that left the world speechless. Instead of apologizing, instead of staying silent, the royal figure at the center of it all spoke out. In front of flashing cameras and global broadcasts, they admitted the truth themselves. Not only that, they declared that they were willing to walk away from titles, from wealth, even from tradition, all for the choice they had made. Can you imagine that moment? A royal breaking centuries of silence, saying words no one thought they'd ever hear. The world wasn't just shocked, it was divided. Some called it bravery, others called it betrayal. And the story didn't stop there, because the confession only opened more questions. Who else knew about this? How long had it been hidden? Was this the only secret, or just the first of many? The palace tried to control the storm, but every attempt backfired. The more they tried to cover it, the more people dug deeper. Every day new details came out. Emails, messages, witnesses. Each one made the scandal harder to contain. And here's the real mystery. Was it really a simple mistake, or was someone inside the palace planning this reveal from the very beginning? Think about it. Who benefits when a royal family is shaken? Who gains power when a crown loses trust? Was this about love, or was it about a hidden game, much larger than anyone expected? The world wanted answers, but the truth was tangled in politics, money, and hidden intentions. And as the days passed, one thing became clear. This was no longer just a personal scandal. It had turned into a story of survival for the entire monarchy. Even today, people still argue, was the royal at fault for following their heart, or was the system at fault for chaining them to rules no one could live under forever? And just when people thought the scandal had reached its peak, another shocking twist arrived. But the real shock came when hidden recordings were leaked. Private conversations that were never meant for the world to hear. The tone, the words, the emotions, they didn't sound like the calm and polite figure everyone thought they knew. Instead, the world heard frustration, secret disagreements, and even strong feelings that painted a very different picture of royal life. The media took those clips and spun them into endless headlines. The palace tried to deny the recordings at first, claiming they were edited or out of context. But experts quickly confirmed the voice was real. That's when the scandal exploded even further. Ordinary people who had admired the royal family for years suddenly started to question if everything they had seen before was just a carefully built image. And just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, another piece of the puzzle surfaced. A letter, a handwritten letter, sealed in a royal envelope, found its way into the hands of a journalist. Inside were words of regret, words of rebellion, and even talk of walking away from the throne altogether. Who wrote it, and why it was never sent, remains a mystery, but its existence proved that something inside those palace walls was far from perfect. Crowds outside the palace gates began gathering daily, chanting, holding signs, and demanding answers. For many, it was the first time they felt the royals were truly human, not untouchable figures, but individuals who could make mistakes, hide secrets, and even betray each other. The press covered every detail, from the way one royal avoided eye contact at a public event, to how another appeared without their wedding ring. Every action, every gesture was analyzed like a puzzle piece in a much bigger scandal. The story was no longer just national news. It was international. People in other countries couldn't stop talking about it. Some defended the royals fiercely, while others demanded justice. And then came the whispers. Whispers of secret deals made behind closed doors. Documents hinting at financial exchanges, promises of silence, and even suggestions that some members of the family were trying to push others out of power. These rumors only added fuel to the fire, making people question who was really in control and who was being silenced. The deeper the world looked, the stranger it all became. But just when the palace thought the storm might settle, another wave of shocking news appeared. This time even more explosive. Reports claimed that a private recording had surfaced. A recording where voices could be heard discussing details that should have never reached the outside world. The media did not wait even a second. Headlines screamed about betrayal, disloyalty, and the collapse of royal trust. Viewers at home could hardly believe their ears. How could something so private leak into the public? Was it someone inside the palace trying to bring them down, or was it an outsider who had managed to slip past their walls of protection? The questions kept pouring in, but the answers were nowhere to be found. And yet, this was not the end. A well-known journalist suddenly revealed that they had evidence of late-night meetings in places where no one expected royals to appear. The thought alone was enough to ignite rumors, secret alliances, hidden motives, and maybe even a plot against the crown itself. People started asking, was this still about love and mistakes, or had it become a dangerous game of power? The scandal quickly turned from whispers to a global spectacle. News anchors, talk shows, and even late-night comedians all found something to say. It was no longer just a story about the royals, it had become entertainment. A dramatic series unfolding before the world's eyes. And in this chaos, one question kept every viewer hooked. What truth was hiding behind the polished royal smiles? Because as much as the palace tried to deny, as much as they insisted nothing was wrong, every new day seemed to bring another shocking headline. and each headline felt heavier than the last, as if the walls of tradition were slowly cracking apart. But the real twist, the one that made international audiences lean closer to their screens, was still ahead. Something much darker was waiting to come out. And once it did, the scandal would no longer be a story about mistakes. It would become a story about survival. Imagine the shock when leaked letters surfaced, written by someone inside the palace itself, someone close enough to witness the scandal unfold from within. These letters hinted at arguments that were silenced, rules that were broken, and a relationship that never should have existed. The handwriting was real, the details too sharp to dismiss. Suddenly, what had started as whispers now exploded into undeniable evidence. The public was divided. Some believed every word, claiming it confirmed the palace was hiding the truth. Others insisted it was fabricated by outsiders wanting to embarrass the royal family. Yet the letters contained dates, private encounters, and hidden meetings that matched events already reported by the press. It was too precise, too exact to ignore. What made it even more shocking was how carefully these secrets had been covered up. Officials tried to issue statements denying the content, but the more they spoke, the more people doubted. Every official denial felt like another attempt to bury the truth, and the more they denied, the bigger the scandal grew. Behind closed doors, security was tightened, phones were checked, meetings were held at odd hours of the night. The palace feared not just the story itself, but who inside their walls had betrayed them. Was it a trusted advisor, a family member, or someone who had simply seen too much and couldn't stay silent anymore? Outside, the world watched every movement. Crowds gathered daily at the gates. Journalists camped for hours, hoping for just one comment. What was once a quiet scandal whispered in secrecy had become an unstoppable storm. And just when people thought it couldn't escalate further, another revelation dropped, something so shocking that it forced even the palace's closest allies to reconsider their loyalty. But what was revealed this time was unlike anything anyone had expected, because it was no longer just about forbidden love or broken traditions. It hinted at a decision that could change the very future of the throne itself.